live and direct from the new planet Earth. Where pandemics are plenty, but the girls are still pretty in fashionable dresses. You know what I'm talking about. Where ignorance is bliss. You ain't gotta give a damn about no code.
Tell me who unleashed our animal instinct. Why the op standing there tickle pink? Have a drink, walking them up liquor. Shot of poison, one thicker. Somebody got some explaining to do. And the classic man is a danger to you. And me too, tatted on my forehead. Go home, go to bed. Yeah, I dread something wicked just like come. When the family unit is overrun, when the structure is undone by some new concoction. Now I walk softly and carry a big stick. Original gorilla in the midst.
Welcome back to another edition of the Franchise Podcast. I'm Joe Arrigo. With me is TQ.
Yep. We're back in the building, boys and girls.
Man.
What's happening, man?
Man, I'm happy.
Are you?
I'm happy.
Oh, my.
Well, I'm happy because it's the new year.
Yeah.
NFL New Year, you know.
Your time of year.
It is. All
It's
the
your time of year right here.
movers and shakers,
Yeah.
transactions, roster
Yeah.
transformations, and no place that's better to start than right here in Sin City,
Come
the
on, man.
Raiders.
I'm dressed accordingly.
Yes, you are.
All the way through and through.
So the Raiders, and obviously there's players that left, and I'm not going to get into that. We talk about that all the time. But players that have entered the building, there's one place you have to start, and that's at the quarterback position, Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not really a surprise. If anything, if you went into any offseason and said, okay, a person that matches a team, Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders were essentially a perfect fit on paper based off past history and position of need. Let's talk about Jimmy G to the Raiders. You're as a Niner fan yourself too, you know a lot about Jimmy G. What can Raider Nation expect from him?
Well, I want to back up a second because we did not start at the quarterback position. We started in the parking lot of Gillette Stadium. And that is what has a lot of Raider Nation up in arms about where the team is going right now. But I'm just saying, like, this is what's happening in my DM. This is what's happening in my comments. Like, bro, we the Patriots. This is the Patriots way, bro, blah, 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 blah. And I get it. I absolutely get it. But I will say this. I know a little something about this quarterback that we just picked up. He is, regardless of how he looks, regardless of how he smiles, regardless of how low-key he is, in the trenches, he is 100% a Raider. 100%. Accountability, his toughness, and he got a mean, nasty side to him that I don't think people really get just by seeing him off the field.
Like, it's the paisan.
Yeah, it's like, you know what I'm saying? So I do think that the city will get to know him and they'll love him. I don't know if the team is going to be able to protect him because he is injury prone. He's injury prone because he'll stand in the pocket. He'll stand in the pocket and take the hit to deliver the shot. And, you know, we love that, but at the same time, man got hurt every year with an offensive line that was markedly better than the one that we have right now. So that part about this move bothers me because towards the end of the year last year, the current offensive line was coming together. But Derek Carr gets rid of the ball fast. And
actually,
Jimmy will hang in there too.
Numbers actually show that Jimmy gets the ball out seconds faster than Carr, is more decisive with his throws and gets him out.
I mean, he had running backs playing as wide receivers and receivers playing as running backs. And he had George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk. I mean, it's different, man. It's a different situation. And that's the part that worries me. I feel like the things that we wouldn't have needed to stay afloat in the AFC West if they would have made the move for Aaron Rodgers, those things could have been focused towards building the parts that we do need.
We didn't even talk about that pre-show. Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee last Tuesday, or last Wednesday, and he said that, you know, there's a certain team that he would have really liked to play for with a friend that, you know, he has a different type of connection with.
I was trying to leave all of this alone. Notice we didn't talk about it because it depresses me, bothers me. Makes me feel very sad. You started this out happy. I was happy too. Now I'm starting to get sad.
Would you, look, I think the reality is, and now we can get into what people want to say the Patriot way, but I think it's actually more so a way to build a team in general, not just the Patriots. A lot of teams do it. It's draft and develop. And I think going into last year, I think that's what Ziegler wanted to do. And when the opportunity arose to get Devontae Adams, the courts changed because it was like, we don't get this type of guy every year. And I know the negotiations were pretty intense for a few days. The Green Bay's GM, Brian Gutekunst, basically said it's a first and a second, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
6-7 phone calls a day. No, that's the asking price. There's nothing. You want to give us more? We'll take more. You're not going to take less. We're not going to take less.
Hard line.
And at that point, they made the decision, let's bring in the best receiver in the game. So I think they pushed back the draft and develop, because even though the Raiders went to the playoffs the year before,
yes, please address this.
There
Raider
was
Nation
still
would love to hear it.
there were still glaring needs, and there was a lot that had to happen for them to make the playoffs, even just to get in it. So it wasn't like they were a lock at a 12, 13 win team. They've been sitting there for 3 weeks in the playoffs. It came down, if I remember correctly, to the last week of the season.
Last week of the season, in a season where they had to play Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes twice.
I get that.
I mean, I'm just
I
saying,
get
man,
that.
if you can get yourself in the playoffs in a season where you have to play Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes twice, the fan base is not going to understand why you need to tear down the house.
But that last game against the Chargers at Allegiant Stadium, it took the Chargers head coach Brandon Staley to make one of the stupidest, most numbskull, mind-numbing, lame decisions to go for it.
How did he get in position to be able to make that decision? Because the Raiders competed
No,
the whole game.
and I'm not saying you're wrong with that. But my point is sometimes there's fool's gold when you think that there's, in your mining, you find some stuff that looks like it's gold, but it's really not.
Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller.
Was Waller? Waller was playing.
Yeah, Waller was playing. Colton Miller and damn Derek Carr. That is not fool's gold.
No, well,
That was not fool's
4 out of 5 ain't fool's gold.
I mean, I'm just saying, man, these people got to the playoffs out of the AFC West. You cannot tell, you're not going to be able to tell the fan base that you needed to tear it all down.
But see, sometimes you got to take a step back to really progress.
Maybe sometimes you just hire Rich Versace and see what happens.
Hey,
Maybe.
Rich is fine where he's at.
I'm just
Rich is fine where
just
he's at.
saying maybe. I'm just giving you what I'm saying here is I'm not speaking as a media person. I'm speaking for the pulse of the nation. This is how they feel. How can you explain? There's not going to be a way to explain. You know why? You're going to have to wait to show it on the
Well,
camera.
but okay, so if you had the option, you'd have done it. Let's say then Rich gets hired, and let's just say you have the same type of year last year, right?
Okay.
So you go, okay, and then this year, this upcoming season, let's say it's a worse year. It's like, well, damn, like, were we really that bad, or were we really that good that one year? What happened? Sometimes, you got to take a step back and look at it without any emotion and just logically and say, okay, let me see the whole landscape of things. And
Do you realize in saying this, what happened the week after the game that you were speaking about? Do you realize that they almost beat Joe Burrow at home?
I
Do
do
you realize how competitive
I
that
do
game was?
I do realize that when a ball was thrown short of the goal line on 4th down
Fine
and goal
and
with a
dandy.
wide open 6'5" tight end on a
What-
5 foot
what
something
made
corner,
that play
I do
mean
know what I'm
something?
saying with that.
What play made that? What made that play mean something? The fact that the Raiders competed the whole game. This is what I'm saying.
So
to
you don't think they
The
competed
best
last
teams-
year?
No. It wasn't going to be no competition. We knew that. We just didn't want to say it. We knew that training camp was the type of show that begins with a word that we vowed that we won't be saying on this show.
Crap?
It was a crap show.
See?
We knew it. We knew it all season last year. We saw it at the beginning of the year. The team didn't get it.
I think
Are they going to get it this year?
okay, you know what? I think they will. Let me tell you why. There's a thing in the locker room and in organizations called culture. And for a long time, the Raiders' culture has been a certain way. That way is no longer the way of the NFL, and that way is not a successful way any longer in
What
the
is
NFL.
that way? What is that way? to win. Just win, baby.
That's not
successful.
That's the outcome of it.
It's successful for Patrick Mahomes right now. They're just winning.
Okay, but again, you've said this for a long time. On this show, you've said, we can't, Raider Nation, we can't draft and bring in the same type of players we're used to. The game is modernized. You need to be smarter. There's guys that are same big, fast, strong. Those guys are across the league now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
We don't have no defense to stop them.
Okay, but again, there's a culture. I mean, look, I had somebody tell me this last year, and I've never said it publicly, but I'll say it now. That when Rich took the job, there was a lot more stuff that wasn't being done from John Gruden, and he was surprised. He was taken aback by, man, how did this stuff slip? Mm-hmm. Talking to players, I know a player in particular that during the season was scheduled to be a free agent, was like, yeah, I'm not resigning back here. There's way too much going on and way too much things that, and he ended up going somewhere else and had a highly successful year. I mean, so there had to be a cultural change. And it could have been Gruden not being able to coach his former quarterback the way he normally would coach him, because that quarterback can't handle being coached hard and makes him feel a certain way and get in his feelings. And when McDaniels takes over, he coaches everybody the same way. The player still feels like that. And with 2 games left in the year, he decides, I'm not going to start. Well, I want to take my ball and go home. Man, so there's a cultural shift in the organization.
But still, there's things that you leave out of a locker room. Like, who has had a season like the Raiders had prior to this year? Like, that season.
Okay,
yes. Listen to me. Let me hear me out.
No, I agree with you with that.
It took some thread within the locker room to hold that squad together. And what came out of it was a playoff appearance, which they hadn't seen in half a decade. So, like, if we can pick apart culture this and culture that, let's add that part to it. There was a bit of camaraderie made on the 3rd or 4th year of a system. What was it? 3rd year? 4th year in a system where the offense is clicking.
5th.
Was it the 5th?
Because
well, if you're looking at the nucleus of the team,
yeah.
Let's say that was the 3rd year, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, so it's finally starting to click. They've been together, they played together. Now, with all of the trash that happened within the season, now they've learned to stick together. There was a culture there already. And that's what the veterans, the leaders on the team, including DC, they didn't understand why that needed to change so much, so fast. Okay, now here's the flip side. I'm Josh McDaniels. I come from the Patriots. Y'all celebrating over a playoff appearance? This doesn't mean anything to me. I'm a champion. I don't care about playoff appearances. I got to come out here and show myself because I've been up under the man for years. And the last time that I went away from the man didn't do too damn well. I'm not going to let it happen again this time. This time I'm going to do things differently. Wait a minute, Mr. Josh. You ain't did nothing. You had Tom Brady all of this time. So I'm just giving you a look of what the situation could have been in the locker room. And late in the season, when you're a cameraman and you're on the sideline, you can smell the funk, brother. You can smell the funk. You can see the eyes rolling. You can understand when people ain't picking up something and when it's turning into coach speak and when they're tired of hearing people yell at them because they don't believe in what they're doing on the field. They're losing trying to do that when they just came off of getting to the playoffs, doing what they used to do, and over this time, lost a pillar of the coaching staff that all of them loved. I'm not taking sides here.
Sounds like it.
I'm not. All I'm doing is I read so much of what Raider Nation has to say. I read so much about what comes back from the team. We have our insider information from what we do. There's a disconnect for what happened last year. And I don't think that most people are understanding both sides of the argument. And if it needed to be a split, okay, fine, you go one way, you go the other. But I'm just saying there's a lot for you to say, for you to take your standpoint against Carr or against going the opposite way. There's a lot of things about that team and that nucleus of a team that was absolutely culture changing.
Okay, I've defended him more than I've detracted against Derek Carr throughout the entirety.
Right.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
But I'm also speaking from talking to people within the organization, current and former teammates,
Right.
guys that I know. This is stuff they're conveying to me.
Right.
Now I've been on teams when I played where I had a coach that I like more than the next guy.
Yes.
Galvanized us, just put us together. Like, man, he's
Yes.
cool. Like, and then when he was no longer coaching, it was like, damn. But guess what? You still got to play. Life goes on. And I know you went through, and if anybody, they've gone through it a lot during his time as a quarterback at the Raiders. What, 4 coaches?
Yeah.
4 head coaches?
Yeah.
And when McDaniels came in, it was, this is my way and this is how we do it. He wasn't accustomed to that because for the last 6 months or a little bit longer, he got to do what he wanted to do and he liked that. His brother said it on NFL Total Access.
Yeah.
Well, Josh comes in, he wants a robot to play quarterback, do this, do this. Well, Derek's used to being able, especially after Rich was there, to go do this, this, this. Well, wait a minute. It's the offense, and you got to learn the offense. No one knows it better than your head coach. So that's why, bringing it full circle, yes, Jimmy G has been in San Francisco and played in an offense that, you're partial to it.
Yeah.
Saying, and I am too. LaFleur runs it in Green Bay. I think it's a great. I think it's yes. Outside of Bill Walsh's, it's right up there. But Jimmy G also knows the fundamentals and the basics and maybe a little bit more of McDaniels' offense and knows how McDaniels is wired, knows how he coaches. And that's a trickle-down effect. Your quarterback has to be a direct extension of your head coach. He has to be able to speak the same language.
I agree.
He has to be wired the same way.
I agree.
You describe Jimmy G. That's Josh McDaniels.
I agree.
So now the guy that's going.
You have the personnel, though?
But see, this is where draft and develop comes into play. You have to be able to draft guys that fit. Now they learn the system. Now they learn this is the way this is how we do it here as an organization. That's how they feel the NFL is now. Okay, this is what we're accustomed to. Now you got Devontae that came from Green Bay, got something different. You got Chandler Jones who came from Patriots as well as the Cardinals. This is how it's done. You got other players that come from other organizations, but the fabric of this is still the same. And now because of that, the team is able to grow into what you want them to be. That's why it's a draft and develop.
Yeah, but you know what that sounds like to me?
And they
Sounds
need
like
time.
a long ass time. You know why? Because this draft and develop, I feel like Kyle Shanahan can draft and develop way faster than this because of how he teaches his system. He's way less rigid about how things happen. He's going to play a bit towards the player's abilities, his instinct. What do I see this player doing over the length of a training camp, over the length of his college career? Let me adjust a little bit here. I'm not going to stand out here and yell at him because he can't pick this thing up. He ain't good at that. What about if he ain't good at that? And the Patriots overall at that time can pick up that guy, and he ain't good at that, and can wait 4 or 5 years until they need him, and can pick up a guy in the draft to sit behind a player who we're going to get rid of a year early anyway. Why? Because you got Tom Brady. Did we forget about Thomas F. Brady? He's got Tom Brady. Josh McDaniels does not have Tom Brady. He does not have a Bill Belichick defense. That's the difference between what the Patriots were able to do with this system and what the Raiders are going to be able to do with this. Listen, I love this team. Always have, always will. If McDaniels can do everything that he needs to do within this draft and the next draft, then I feel like, okay, it was a success. But we're not getting no Super Bowl at home. We're not doing that. That's not going to happen with this iteration of the team as it is today. We have taken a massive step back from where we were before McDaniels and Devontae got here. That doesn't make much sense to me, but that's just the truth. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. The one last thing I want to say. For the wide receiver, the starting wide receiver and the starting running back to have that great of a season last year and the team be that trash. Come on, how do you explain this?
Defense wins champions.
Thank you.
Championships.
Thank you very much.
Look, that poses a question. and I'll ask Raider Nation this too. If you have the ability to know that you're going to go 4-12 this year and get the number 1 pick, obviously Caleb Williams is going to be that guy. Do you, one, take or take the best defensive player or another player at 7, an offensive lineman, or do you take the best player available if it's a quarterback, if it's
In this draft?
in this draft? Which
And you got a chance to get one next year?
Yes.
Absolutely not. I'll do whatever I can do to get one next year. Because what worries me about the McDaniels way is...
It's the Ziegler way too.
that's fine.
Like he's the one calling the shots.
All right. What scares me about their way is that I don't think there's enough importance lent to Thomas F. Brady. And we don't have him. And next year, you have the opportunity to get him. That type of guy is not in this draft at the quarterback position.
No, I agree. I think if it was, they wouldn't have traded out. Bears wouldn't have traded out that first position.
Exactly. And that guy is that, possibly, if he stays healthy, that guy is next year, and that's a generational quarterback that we'll be seeing for years. So if you can get him, a lot of what I just was talking about goes null and void immediately because he's a better quarterback than the Raiders have probably ever had.
If you're picking at 7, okay, I know who I like. You know, I like two. There's a few players. Probably my favorite player outside of Will Anderson in this draft is Devin Witherspoon, the corner from Illinois. He should be there at 7 too, and he's a dog.
I need to get in the room with the Georgia kid, man.
But Jalen Carter would be the one that.
Yeah, I got to get in the room with him. I got to sit down and I got to have a real heart-to-heart conversation and see if he gives me a reason in that meeting not to draft him, because he's what we need. Like I don't want to waste the best years of Max Crosby, and we see how possible it is for a team to focus their attention on Max Crosby and get him out of the game because there's not enough help on the other side. Now I'm expecting a jump for Chandler Jones, absolutely, but if you can get a guy like this kid, man, on that line also, it becomes that thing. Like, I feel like this squad needs more players playing active minutes. And I think that's another thing that separates what they were able to do at the Patriots from what they're able to do here. When you get guys knowing that system like that, and you get multiple guys at multiple positions that you can draft late, right? That are gonna come in and get real PT, like, that's what affords them the opportunity to get rid of that high-priced guy a year early. Let him go somewhere else, have him a good year, and then he falls off the wagon. Well, the guy that was here backing up, he got so many years in the system, it don't take him being a star. He plugs in well, easily. So, I mean, I don't know if Raider Nation is willing to be that patient, even though we have to be, to allow that to happen. I feel like if that's the mode, if that's what this regime is trying to do, yeah, it could be successful. But I don't know how soon that's going to be.
So with Carter, what worries me about Carter isn't the issue with that was driving fast, reckless driving or whatever.
Right.
Because it was speeding.
Yeah.
It didn't get his teammate killed.
Right.
Drunk driving got his teammate and the recruiting person killed.
Right.
What bothers me is you're at your job interview, the biggest job interview of your career, and this drops, which I think is planted, right? The news.
Yeah.
And a
month.
month.
Know it happens.
Yeah. No. And a month later, less than a month later, weeks later, you go to your pro day where you're going to do your work. This is where you're going to work out at.
Yeah.
And you come in 8 pounds overweight. You can't finish your drills. And you look out of shape, just gas completely. Yeah. That's what worries me about him. And
that's part of why I say I would have to get in a room with him. I gotta grill him, and I gotta find something that makes me not want to draft him.
You know, when you were talking about the drafting and stuff, it took me back to when another coach took over a team back in the early 90s. And he brought in old veteran players from the team, the older veteran players that were where he was at, because they knew the system. And it kind of started to instill what he wanted that culture to be.
Yeah.
And they went on to win the Super Bowl. It was a team that was basically like the Cleveland Browns for 30 years at the time. And they've been successful for another 30. And that's Mike Holmgren when he took over, and Ron Wolf. And I see that same thing.
Oh, it
no.
would be those two.
No, but I'm saying this reminds me of it.
God.
Though.
I bet it does. Everything reminds you. You go to Disneyland,
this reminds me,
and it'll remind you of Mike Holmgren.
See, here you
That's
go.
back when Green Bay used to win.
This reminds me of it in the sense where they're trying to build a culture. They're trying to build the organization with long-term sustained success. And if it means that you get kicked in your teeth for a couple more years, but then you're going to take off, and for another 20 or 30, you're going to be what you're accustomed to and all what Raider Nation's accustomed to.
You tend to leave something out.
You take it.
You tend to leave things out. You leave out the same exact things every single time.
What's that?
Green Bay, during those years, had a defense.
They actually didn't until
They had a
after.
defense, and they had Brett F. Favre. Come on, man. We don't have neither one of those things out here.
No, at that time, Reggie White came the year after Favre, and Favre was still unproven.
They ended up with Reggie White and Brett Favre.
But it took a couple years.
Talking about
that
Mike
is my
Holmgren.
point. A couple years. It's going to take a couple years.
So where's Brett Favre coming from? One place. USC next season. If you don't get him, you ain't got him. What happens if you don't get him? You just gonna roll the dice to get him?
No, you find another way.
It's not. Who you gonna get? What? You gonna get Patrick Mahomes?
Like I said going into this offseason, you never know what quarterback's going to be available next year. It could be Lamar Jackson again. Like, let's be real. It could be, you don't know what quarterback is. Hey, you know, I don't want to play for the Jets anymore. I want to go west. You know, I'm just saying, you never know. So be patient, chill out.
That's what we're talking about. Nobody wants to be patient. We just got a taste of the playoffs.
You can't have high expectations and have no patience.
We made the Chargers cry at the end of the season and almost went and beat Joe Burrow. We are bloodthirsty.
Joe Burrow may be available if he don't sign with Cincinnati because he's going to want some real money.
And he's going to get it.
He better get it.
Brinks truck.
Hey, that reminds me. They're backing the Brinks truck up for college players again.
Hey, man, listen. I don't mean to ruffle no feathers here.
But he's going to.
But, you know, I've been a big proponent of NIL and players getting paid because I honestly believe they've been exploited for years and years and years and years. And that needed to be fixed.
Agreed.
But if I'm going to look in the mirror and say that, I also got to look in the mirror at myself. And I have to say, okay, when I was 18, 19 years old, if I had enough money to walk into a dealership and come out with, what was our car? A Mustang GT 5.0.
I was always a Porsche guy.
Okay, well, yeah, you was a little more higher on the hog than I was.
Nah, not at all. I just wanted Porsches.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You had to get some. The point is, you know what I'd have been doing? I'd have been racing.
You and your 5.0 just...
Yeah, I'd have been acting up. So, my standpoint hasn't changed because some of these players bring so much to the school, to the athletic department, that they got to get their share. But there's got to be some kind of mentorship, some kind of training, some kind of... And then when I say that, I'm like, well, who's going to administer that? The NCAA? The school? That becomes the same thing as it was before NIL because there's so much room for fraudulent activity within that type of situation. So, but at the same time, man, we just can't continue to just hand money over to our young men and not prepare them for what money does. Like, they're young, they're boys, they're not men yet. And when you're a boy, I've lived it. And you just get a bag just dropped in front of you, lose your mind. You literally lose your mind. And it's about, we was talking about this a couple of episodes ago about John Morant. It comes down to the people who are around you. I was lucky enough to have the right people around me. It was family members and people that I knew for my whole life. If they weren't in my life, if I didn't have the kind of mentors that I had then, which I still have right now, who knows where I would be? So I just feel like there's got to be some kind of idea or way to figure out how to give them some education, how to give them just a bit more of an understanding of the possibilities of how big the smallest mistake could be for your life.
I'm glad you say that. I'm really glad you say that because, and I've told you this for years. I mean, I've thought about this in my 20s. If I was granted control of the NCAA, one of the first things that I would enact is I would mandate every school have within a year, so the curriculum could be worked upon with outside entities.
Yeah.
But within a year, every school and every athlete on campus, scholarship, walk-on, or whatever else, has to have this course, which is money management. And within that course, you learn about what not to and what to and what not to do. But also you learn about groupies, hangers-on, and family members. Because family members are the worst. When you got money and you tell them no, it is the worst thing. And you have people like Kenny Anderson come in there and speak. Kenny signed a $57 million deal with Portland, and within 10 years had to file bankruptcy. And in part because of a divorce with somebody that took half of it. And also because you had family members and friends. Hey, dog, I'm gonna open this restaurant. I'm gonna open this clothing store. Hey, I missed rent. Can you give me how much you need? Like $4,000. I missed the last 3 months. Or I missed my car payment. Or
preaching to the choir, man. That kind of stuff has you losing sleep at night because these are people that you love. You know what I'm saying?
And it hurts to say no.
Yeah, it hurts to say no because they're like y'all gonna always share the same blood. You're always gonna share the same last name. And a lot of times, the outside view, especially to your family, and especially when you Black and Latino, y'all came from the bottom of the barrel, especially in a time like now when you can literally just make your life look grand. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's in your pockets. And a lot of times you end up rewarding or helping according to a perception as opposed to what it really is because you just want to keep the peace, right? And then you feel the responsibility coming from where you come from to have this type of opportunity to spread it out and make it better for everybody else. I love that idea, but it's just like anything else, man. Look, I wasn't into math. I wasn't into calculus in high school. So when I came out of calculus class, the last thing I'm thinking about is calculus. And if I was coming out of calculus class to a Hemi Cuda or something out in the parking lot, I'm really not thinking about no class or what I just learned right then. I'm trying to go race. I'm trying to go have a good time with my friends. So, you know, a lot of our little homies ain't gonna like this, but I just think adding to what you just said, certain steps you need to have to complete to get all your bag so that at the end of the day, you can say, I got all the information that I need. Anything coming at me, I'm gonna make a decision whether I'm gonna do it or not. This is not something that I wasn't ready for. I'm not out here being a naive teenager. So that when you're doing something stupid and you got to deal with the police, you can't sit there in your apology and say, well, I'm just 19 years old. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna be better, blah, blah, blah. No. What kind of situation can we force to say, okay, it's proven now that you've been warned about everything. So now what you go out there and do, you got to take full responsibility for it, own up to it, and you cannot blame it on I didn't know or I was young or whatever.
Some of that could go towards the people they have the NIL deals with, where you get in trouble, we pull the deal.
Lovely.
That way it forces some type of responsibility.
Lovely.
And right now, to be clear, folks, with NIL, like they don't, if they have, let's say a $4 million deal, 4-year, whatever, to go to said school, they don't get $4 million up front.
Right.
Like it is literally broken up like payments. You get, okay, this quarter you get this quarter you get that.
It still becomes an awesome job better than what you had before you got
100%.
So yeah, it's just,
and it's a job. It's not like these kids have to just, hey, here's some chicken fingers, like with Tate Martell, right?
Oh yeah, no,
with,
it's work.
With Tate we shot Tate Martell's videos. Trish did.
Yeah.
At the apartment.
It's work, man.
And
it's work.
It was like 8 takes.
Yeah, it's work.
And this is a guy that's personable.
Listen, man, it is a job. You do have to understand that it is a job. Like they don't just, and then I don't know if this is a gift or a curse, but the whole reason for NIL in the first place is what cachet that player can bring to your business. What it looks like when this top D1 player is driving a hot car from your dealership. That does a lot for your dealership. So, you know, I've had so many family members that go into the league. That time between that last college game and that first pro game, man, a lot of people are betting on your future.
Well,
they're giving you things based on what the potential is for them and their business before you even sign anything.
We seen it last year at the bowling party.
Right, exactly. So it's like, it's just a time when I wish that there was some kind of, I don't know, certification or just certain steps that you would have to go to. Say, okay, I've completed this. So now I've been told formally, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. And boom, I'm signed off. I get my money. When I go and mess up, it's on me. Take it all from me. I don't know how that's possible. I don't think it is possible. But I will say that I'm starting to see how NIL without any regulation could go badly.
Well, that's why it's like I've said with NIL and with the transfer portal in particular, they let the toothpaste out the tube and can't get it, trying to get it back in, and that's not going to happen.
No, it's dead.
So that there has to be,
but then you got to say, I mean, well, hey, this content is good for you, man, because the NCAA has exploited these people, man, since we've been born, bro.
before.
Yeah,
before
exactly.
we were born.
So like, whatever happens as far as that goes. I just don't want these young men just messing up their opportunities, man. It's not easy to get the type of opportunity that Jalen Carter is about to have. It's not good to get. It's not easy to get the opportunity that Henry Ruggs had. You know what I'm saying? And to just allow it to just go out the door when all it took at that time for let's just say in the Ruggs situation, I'm not absolving him from anything, but if it was some sober-minded person there that understood what type of opportunity you're about to blow by doing this, that wouldn't have happened. And I just wish that there was a way to be able to have that person in the room. Same thing with John Morant. He'd be on the basketball court right now if that person was in the room. I don't mean to be redundant because I said it before, but it's so important. The job that we do, the people that we report on, have the ability to literally create generational wealth for their last names. You know what I'm saying? I'm a black person. We missed out on the land. You know, when we get to the point where we can buy land, we need to make sure that we get as much as we can. So doing things to get ourselves thrown in jail or doing things to get the bag snatched from us it's a sin and a shame, man. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I hate to see it. And you just see it, like all of this is coming out with these cars in the last week with these players driving too fast. Well, when I first got a bag, Skip Rock said, you know what you're gonna buy? These are the cars you can go get if you live here. I ended up with a Ford Bronco. All right, I could put the humps in it. It wasn't going. One thing I was not doing was going fast.
Was it white?
No. No, sir.
Wait, sure, maybe it was an AC driving. It was a squeeze driving.
No. It was not black. Not at all. I mean, it was not white. It was not white. It was black. It was gold. You know, listen, stop. But, I mean, that's the point. It's just, just having an extra piece of guidance that kind of forces you to say, okay, I know that these are the possibilities. If I'm gonna go out here and make a dumb decision, it's on me.
Well, I know who also makes dumb decisions?
Joe Arrigo.
Yeah, but besides me. Major League Baseball.
Uh-oh. Here he comes, boys and girls.
I grew up playing baseball. I thoroughly loved it as a child.
Can we take me out to the ball game behind this? Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead, give it to us. Or if you don't start, I'm gonna start playing violins. Come on.
I'm not looking forward to this baseball season. Not because of anything on the field. I wasn't.
Never heard you say anything like this.
Yes, I really wasn't. But then, what I love about baseball is the WBC, the World Baseball Classic, right? It's been going on for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And I love it because I used to watch the Caribbean World Series. And to me, that's everything that baseball should be. The crowd's in it with noisemakers and they're chanting, oh, yeah, yeah. Like they're going off, right?
Yeah.
And it's like guys hit home runs are throwing bats and they're talking trash around the bases.
Yeah.
Pitchers strike them out, they're, sit down, puto, ah. You know, like I love it. And then the WBC comes and Major League Baseball, who's a part of it, they don't have anything to say about it. So, and the fans from the countries outside of the United States, including Japan, who were very into it,
Right.
they continue to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, this is everything that's right with baseball. Well, the WBC to me is like the World Cup for soccer.
You're saying a lot now. You're doing too much.
No.
You're doing too
No,
much.
I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you. All the best players for their countries are playing for their country.
Not all the best players.
Pitchers excluded from certain instances. But yes, all the best players that are available. The Puerto Rican team is crazy. The Dominican team was crazy. Venezuela's team was crazy. Team USA is crazy. And they still don't have Bryce Harper because of the Tommy John surgery he had. But you got Mookie. You got Mike Trout.
Yeah.
You got Goldschmidt. Arenado. Trey Turner, who's killing it. Tim Anderson is making a killing.
I'm saying we made this game.
Don't matter.
What do you mean it don't matter?
What baseball is missing out on and what's upsetting me about the whole thing is Major League Baseball doesn't grow with the times. You hit a home run, just run around the bases and shut up. You strike somebody out, just walk off the mound. You make a great catch, don't celebrate with the crowd, don't celebrate with your teammates, just throw the ball back in and get back to your position. Rock and fire then, pitcher. Like,
That's not a rule though.
it's the unwritten rules. And that's the thing. There's so many stupid unwritten rules in baseball. The WBC throws them out the window, and I love it.
What is the consequence for breaking the unwritten rules in MLB?
You wear one in your ear hole. Or you slide into second base. You get a late slide into second base.
Getting hit with a ball.
Yeah.
Assaulted,
Yeah.
basically.
Physical assault. Which is, hey, I'm into that if you want. Hey, I used to love throwing at people.
No, don't throw no baseball at my head,
I love throwing
man.
at people. Hey, duck.
Well, no, we're going to deal with some things in the parking lot. You can't be playing
Okay,
with
John Moran.
can't be playing with people's livelihood, man. That's a weapon. You can kill somebody with that thing,
But that's
man.
what they do. Look at back a few years ago, Madison Bumgarner and Puig, or Madison Bumgarner and Max Muncy hits a home run, takes a few steps, and he's telling them run. Man, kiss my grits.
Right.
Like, man, you ain't gonna run. Like, I'm gonna take. And that's the thing. If the dude, I forget who it was the other day, hit a bomb, tossed his bat and walked the first like 4 or 5 steps, turned to his dugout and was like, whatever. There was no problem from the other team. Because guess what? When their dude came up, a dude hit a bomb, he did the same exact thing.
But in a country where they playing baseball at, that's what's happening in the streets.
That's
what's happening in the
Right.
recreation centers.
100%.
All of that's what they come out of.
And guess what?
What?
They're playing Major League Baseball.
Right? But they can't do it there.
What?
So now they get it. You just told me why. They
Okay,
don't want to
I
get
know.
hit in the head with a ball. Right?
But guess what? You got a pitcher that could throw one at their guy. Just saying.
Again, man, now you're talking about giving people you can't do that. You just
Why?
You
Look,
can't throw balls
dude,
at people's heads, man. Can't do it.
The WBC is everything that's right with baseball. And to have some old scribes and old heads talk about, because Edwin Diaz, the closer for the Mets, tore his patellar tendon, celebrating Game 2 of the Puerto Rico win. I think they beat Venezuela, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he had to get carted off. He had to have surgery. He's out for the year. And if you don't know him, he's the guy that comes in from the Mets and they got the crazy horn song playing that everybody goes nuts to.
Yeah.
That's why teams shouldn't let guys play.
Stop. He hurt himself how?
Celebrating.
So, I mean, he wasn't playing.
Exactly. But if he wasn't there, he wouldn't have got hurt is his point, which is stupid. This is you showing your pride for your country that you're not really able to do because it's frowned upon everywhere else you go. It's frowned upon here and other countries. Like,
how are the ratings going for this? People watching it?
Bro, Japan,
Yeah.
over 50% watched their semifinal game against Mexico on Monday night.
It's the biggest sport there,
50% of the country.
That's the biggest sport there, right? Baseball.
Oh yeah, that's
bigger than everything else.
Yes,
in Japan.
yes.
Yeah,
well,
it
maybe
makes
sumo
sense.
wrestling.
I don't know. I think baseball is a super
Oh,
huge
no,
deal.
it is.
Yeah. So,
Trevor Bauer's playing there too. Oh, he's playing in the Korean Baseball League now.
It's big there too.
Yeah.
So I mean that makes sense. How they do in America though? How is because
The numbers are through the roof.
Really?
Through the roof.
As compared to MLB.
Yes, blowing Major League Baseball, and that's my point.
Well, there it is. Proof's in the pudding, man.
And so I think it goes to a bigger showing that Major League Baseball, they're trying to modernize with the pitch clock and everything else.
Right.
I'm for the pitch clock to an extent.
Yeah.
But baseball has to change. It's becoming boxing. Boxing used to be the sport of kings. Now it's like big fight. We're not even going to talk about Benavidez and Plant on the show. On this show, but we'll be on another one. But that used to be a lead for everything. It's boxing.
But yeah, the thing is but boxing has lost money. That's why they ain't on top no more.
True.
Baseball don't lose no money, man. I don't see baseball changing at all until it starts to hurt their pockets. And it's not. And people say, there's no diversity, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it is. It wouldn't be a World Baseball Classic if it wasn't for no diversity. Now, they don't spend no resources or time going in the hood.
That's true.
Understand that. But why do they have to? You got people in other countries just as good as the kids that would be playing in the hood who are now playing basketball and football, right? That little Japanese kid or that kid from Venezuela or from Cuba, his dream is to come over here and show what he can do. You don't have to go to him. Give him a route to get to you and he's going to come. Baseball don't have to extend anything because they are their dog. Their ratings don't go down. They constantly making more and more money. When they do their TV deals, it's through the roof. And we can sit and watch games in minor markets or mid-major markets where the stadium is still half empty. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Or in Oakland where you get less people there than at an Aviators game here.
Exactly. So, but for some reason, it doesn't lose its luster. And if it does, I think they would start making changes. I think what they're doing right now with the modernization and the pitch clock and all this, they're just listening to the fans. There's a lot of fans that are complaining. There's a lot of fans that feel the same way that you are. And Major League Baseball is basically saying, okay, we didn't had 6-7 years of them complaining. Let's throw them a bone. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is not being affected. Remember when the bottom line started getting affected in the early 2000s in the NBA? And made everybody put on suits?
Yeah. I think it's going to come back to that in a way.
Hey, if it does, watch. That's when the change is going to happen. And I don't think Major League Baseball has shown any crisis other than player issues, strikes, and stuff like that they can just negotiate themselves out of. I don't think we've seen any drop in production and profit for them to make any kind of changes. But if they're making a change, they throwing their fans.
But they can make more profit if they make some changes. And the thing.
So who's that got to be proven to? How old are the people that you
That's the problem. The owners are all older dudes that just,
that are making bread off their teams.
But then you got they make bread, but then you got the A's owner who makes a ton of money. The dude is one of the richest dudes in baseball.
But that's from his other businesses, right?
Don't matter, but he don't put it back. He put any into his team. You got the dude who owns the Royals. Sam Walton owns Walmart.
Yeah.
And
but you got to understand, if you own Walmart, the Kansas City Royals are a very small part of your business. Do you understand that? It's something for fun. It's something for you to be able to say, oh, I'm the man, I own the Royals. He ain't doing that to make no money, man. The man owns Walmart. The man is the wall in Walmart. Kansas City Royals? I'll just buy this for Sean. Hey, you want a baseball team? Get that. Done.
Oh, nah.
Come on, man.
I just think
it's like them Glazers.
Oh, God.
It's the same thing.
They're selling, though. Thank you, Ronaldo.
Thank God they're selling. But the point is, they didn't need Manchester United to make money. They looked at it as, oh, this is something that we can turn into something else. I mean, no, this is what I mean. They didn't need Manchester United to win to make money.
Yeah.
Right? They see it as a cash cow. Let's just take. We're not going to spend none of the bottom line that we take from this on improving anything because it's still making us money. We can build a new stadium that's going to make us money, or we can stay in this trash stadium and make money.
And we could use Manchester United as a bank.
Period.
Look, they've done that.
Exactly. So I look at the owners in Major League Baseball as the Glazers. They're making their money. You're going to have to give them some kind of intriguing reason to change their model if it's not affecting their bottom line, leaving their model how it is.
So do you think the bottom line is being affected by the Lakers and Jeannie Buss with what's going on with them? I know there's some inconsistent play. I mean, look, let's be honest. LeBron's been out. We know that.
There it is.
Okay, but Malik Beasley started off slow, picked up some steam, and then he's kind of slowed down. Jared Vanderbilt, the last couple games for the Lakers hasn't had that same energy. Maybe like that awe effect of being a Lakers kind of wore off. But Rui Hachimura is really he picked
Hachimura,
up,
man.
What,
Butchering this man's name. We sorry, Rui. This guy, man. Hachimura. Rui Hachimura.
Hachimura.
I knew it was coming.
So Rui Hachimura, he turns around and is actually balling out, playing real well now. I think he found his stroke. And D'Angelo Russell, to me, is key. He's the key. He's been the key. And on Friday night, he didn't have a great game. I think he has the first game. Him, Beasley, and Rui didn't hit a three when they lost a heartbreaker to Dallas.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's been consistent the entire time, and I think that he becomes their priority number one this offseason.
D'Angelo?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this team has not had the opportunity to play together because when LeBron comes back, instantly everybody's expectation for their role goes down. They have less work to do, I feel. And all this team needs to be able to do is stay afloat. Just stick around somewhere in the bottom of the playoff race. Even if it's just to play in, I'm not worried about them winning one game if they got LeBron James. But what I see is the top teams in the Western Conference, a matchup nightmare if they got to play the Lakers with a healthy LeBron James, a healthy AD, and these new additions. So I see there is a level of inconsistency. There's a level of not knowing each other completely well yet. There's a level of needing to get more practice time in together. But we're seeing all of this without the king, man. And I'm not hitching my wagon to another player more so than LeBron James when it comes down to the playoffs. He's done it more than anybody else. He's done it consistently more than anybody else. He's still the smartest player in the game, still one of the best players in the game, and he's that 5'2" baseball player. He does everything. And if it's just for a spurt at the end of the year, when you need to pull from deep down within yourself, even at this age, LeBron is the one that can do it.
I think if anything with LeBron right now, what the best part about this injury is it's allowed. Yeah, he gets to rest and time to maybe get them legs right. Rumor is that he went and had PRP done to his foot or his ankle, which was huge.
Good timing for it. And if that did happen, we can expect a couple more weeks off.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So that is very important, I think, for this team and for Darvin Ham to stay open with the best ways night in and night out to just stay afloat. You just got to compete and win games and stay afloat because the one thing that I do worry about is it going to be enough time between when LeBron gets back and when that really tough playoff series comes in the West, whether that's going to be Denver or whether that's going to be or whoever it's going to be, that the ability to play together. Yeah, it's like, remember what happened with him and the young guys. Right when they got good, he got hurt. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it took a while for that continuity, for him to find where they like things, for them to find how he liked to play. The Lakers haven't been afforded that. It don't look like they will be able to be afforded that. But you come in with a healthy LeBron, with these young legs, these kids that can actually shoot the ball, man, I feel great. I absolutely feel great. And I thought we had no shot for anything at the beginning of this season. Like it was what it was.
Now, different story.
Different story, man. Different story. We have everybody that has talked bad about Rob Pelinka since the time Magic left have got to eat their words right now.
Well, the one thing I wish they would do is sign a big man because they have the one open roster spot. You need one. Hey, call Boogie Cousins, not Tristan Thompson. Call Boogie. I think Boogie would be perfect in that room and with the role that he plays. But I mean, that's it for this week's show.
Is it?
That's it.
Did we get to the end?
This is the end.
Nice.
Hey, but I want to say one thing before we go.
Yeah.
I want to congratulate Keyshawn Nixon.
Yeah?
Keyshawn signed with, undrafted rookie, signed with the Raiders.
Yes.
Left, went on to greener pastures, made an All-Pro last year, and signed
Was he All-Pro last year?
All-Pro kick returner, first team.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with Green Bay to remain there. He loves it. So, Keyshawn, I've known you a long time, brother. I love you. Congratulations on the deal. You're a friend of the show, friend of the
job,
franchise.
man. I didn't even know he made All-Pro last. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
So I want to congratulate Key on his deal. But that's it for this week. We'll be back next week. Got some more news and anecdotes and opinions.
Yeah, we're going to deal with this Raider situation a little bit more as
Yes.
they pick up free agents as we get closer to the draft. Because something got to be done. I had to work, you know what I'm saying? I had to get, try not to get all the way into it unless it's absolutely necessary.
I kind of didn't mean
it's
to.
absolutely necessary. No, you did it on purpose.
No, I didn't.
You did it on purpose. You know Aaron Rodgers is gone, and you're trying to slowly come over here to this side. We're not letting it happen.
I'm never leaving.
Not letting
Never
it happen.
leaving.
Trust me, you're going to see this guy in a lot of silver and black over the next couple of years. Don't let it happen. Call him out every single time. This is Raider Nation. This is not Wisconsin. This is not some cheese factory or whatever they do up there. This is the Strip, baby. Las Vegas.
Hey.
We'll see y'all next week.
Could be worse. Could be Bears fans.
Oh, no. Don't do Chicago like that, bro. No. We get down with Chi-Town. You understand? We down with Chi-Town. We're not down with Wisconsin, though.